Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut. This is the Golden News, and I bring you the news and all that. But first, let's see that my streams are all working as usual. Let's pop out kick chat here. Let's kick it into high gear. Room, and yeah, Kick and Twitch look fine. How about Rumble? I think it's working, and I'm also on Twitter still, and also yes, okay, it's working, and yeah, all right, everything looks fine and dandy. So yeah, today I'm streaming at this hour because of reasons. So let's go to the first story already. So Abject European Tyranny. So there's a few different stories from a few different European countries. Some from the EU, some from not from the EU. So let's have a look. So first, Keir Starmer cancels 4 mayoral elections he was set to lose. Essex, Hampshire and Solent, Sussex and Brighton and Norfolk and Suffolk will all be delayed by 2 years because Starmer is worried Reform will win them. They will now take place in 2028 instead of next year. Yeah, so European democracy. I'm not even a fan of democracy, but it's like, if you're supposedly, representing the system and all that, at least you should, try to pretend like it matters, like it means something. So yeah, Keir Starmer, if you want change, you have to vote for it. So we'll be canceling elections, of course. Yeah, this is European democracy. And what's this? So mother arrested for texting insult about the man who attacked her. Welcome to Britain 2025. If a man physically assaults a woman, that's fine. How long?
11 police
Okay,
officers.
this isn't too long.
I mean, that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd left my front door open and I was waiting for my dad to come to the house and I was actually in the bath.
And 11
they opened the door themselves.
And just came in.
And came in.
And you're in the bath.
Yeah.
And what do they say to you?
Well, I heard my name, which was one female out of the lot of them.
And 10 male officers.
Yeah. And then I heard my name and I thought it might be my sister because it didn't sound like...
Okay, that's too much rambling. But yeah, 11 police officers, mostly men, broke into her house to arrest her while she was naked in the bath. Why? Because she sent a text message that contained the word bundle of sticks. This is Britain 2025. Yeah, so, and I don't know. Yeah, well, that's Europe, not just Britain, but Europe in the current year. A UK Labour government has 6,000 staff spying on social media posts. 6,150 staff have been revealed to be assigned specifically to trawling social media to find posts to report on. UK is not a free country under Starmer's tyranny. No, well, it wasn't a free country under the previous prime minister, or before that, or the one before that. Hasn't been a free country for a long time, if ever. British justice system is broken. This is Judge Tracy Lloyd Clark. So I guess it's female. Not sure, not clear. She sentenced 24-year-old David Morgan to 20 months in prison for some posts on X. The same judge let off child rapist Reese Newman because she said the prisons were overcrowded. This is yet another example of our completely broken justice system, with pedophiles protecting judges who would rather throw the book at you for hurty words. So yeah, this is why people like this are why oubliettes were invented. I still don't think that you should go to jail for pretty much anything you say on social media. It's like, of course, there's like some cases, like maybe you reveal state secrets or something, like or if you do, like, I don't know, sexually harass minors or something. But hey, minors cannot even be on social media nowadays, so it's you can't do that anymore. But generally speaking, like, no, it shouldn't be a crime to be an asshole on social media, whereas being a child rapist should be a crime. But in the UK, it's the other way around. This Welshman got 20 months in jail because Jews were mad about posts like these. Jews hate free speech. So what did he say? So yeah, I guess it's the same story. David Morgan. Yeah, it looks like him, I guess. Anyways, I'm sick of hearing about the Holocaust. I'm a 22-year-old white man growing up in a world where every single negative aspect of life is Jewish: government, banking, entertainment, porn. But the second day I say a word, all I hear about the goddamn Holocaust. Fuck off. So if he's wrong about every single aspect of his life being Jewish, then surely he wouldn't get into trouble for saying this. But no, he's clearly just wrong, so that's why he has to go to jail. And latest UK Finder Now poll modeled out, so the Reform Party was that is 352 seats, and then the Green would be the second, 88 seats, and this is Liberal Democrats 72, Conservative, so I guess Tories would be 53. And SNP, I don't know what that is even. Scottish National, okay, that makes sense. It would be 48, other 28, PC, what is played Kimry, is like a Welsh party or something. And then Labour 3 seats, minus 408. So it would be a change from last year's election. So these are crazy numbers. Like, neither of the main parties, as long as I've been around, it UK has been always dominated by either Labour or the Tories. But now if this poll is at all accurate, would seem that both Labour and Tories are reviled and other options are considered. Like, I'm not saying that the other options are. I'm gonna say they're probably better, but they may not be good, because will they actually be advocating for actual change, or just like cosmetic improvements? That's usually how democracy works nowadays, at least. That at best you get cosmetic improvements, like like Donald Trump in America. Like, sure, he on his first term, at least, I do think he did some things better, but right now he's not that different from Biden or anybody else. Anyways, and 4chan tells Ofcom to go fuck yourselves. Ofcom has contacted 4chan 4 times, now threatening legal action if they don't implement the Online Safety Act. 4chan responded by saying, "We have flipped Ofcom the bird. Keir Starmer has no power in America." So Ofcom expanding the scope of our investigation at 4chan, blah blah blah. Okay, it doesn't really have anything interesting here. Okay. Duties under the Act in relation to the protection of children. So we are a UK-based regulator, but that doesn't mean the rules do not apply to sites based abroad. You are required to introduce highly effective age assurance for users. Blah blah blah. I'm not gonna read all that stuff, but so at least it's good if 4chan is confident, giving them the finger. Like, I don't know how it's gonna be. Like, well, my prediction is that eventually, 4chan will just be blocked off in the UK, so you cannot access the site from the UK. It's like, that would be crazy if 4chan actually like loses and have to pay money or something, or implement their evil policies under the site. That would be terrible. So today, now we go to Ireland. Today in Ireland, well, this was uh, like almost a week ago. In Ireland, Christian schoolteacher Enoch Burke was sentenced to life in prison for refusing to use transgender students' pronouns back in 2022. He will now spend the rest of his life behind bars unless last-ditch legal challenge works. This is absolutely insane. So this is sort of misinformation, but I guess practically I think it's also correct as far as I understand. So here, yeah, while allegedly fired for transphobia, he's is in only he is in only in prison. Am I crazy, or does like one is there one in too many? For continuing to trespass on school grounds despite court orders and school security barring him. He can leave at any time by agreeing to stop to enter the school he was fired from. So yeah, he was a teacher and he didn't call somebody they them or whatever pronouns they wanted, and then he was fired, and I guess then he went to the school. So yeah, in some sense it's like, yeah, he should just stop, but then again it is abject tyranny trying to the school system to force you to use incorrect terminology. Like, let's say like um, let's say that I was a biology teacher, and then there was a picture of a cat, and I would tell the students this is a cat, but then the school board or whatever said like, no, that's a horse. You have to tell them that's a horse, or you will be fired. And then when he's fired, and like so yeah, but he went to the school, so I presume he still cares about truth and his students and stuff, and that's why he was arrested. And I think he's also like incarcerated for being in contempt of the court, which is good. You should be in contempt of these courts that have nothing to do with justice or rationality. So yeah, and because he's not, I guess, repentant. He's not apologized to the court and stuff. That's why he's still in jail, and we don't know if he's ever gonna be released unless he, admits the error of his ways, quote unquote. That's my understanding. It's possible there's some details are wrong, or maybe there's more to it, but as far as I know, and yeah, there was a protest, I guess, last weekend on last Friday, to have him released. I don't know how many people went there or anything, but I haven't heard anything about this really since then, so I don't know if people just forgot all about it, which would be for unfortunate. Okay, and then Hungary's so the European Parliament saying this. Hungary's rule of law of crisis keeps getting worse. EU must finally act to defend democracy. European Parliament calls on Council and Commission to take direct action to protect European values in Hungary. European values like uh, you know your vote counts only when you vote the way we want. Like the chat control stuff was defeated, but then they're still gonna do like some version of it, or like the EU constitutions like 20 years ago, they were rejected by a few different countries, but well, oh, that didn't matter. And now this, and it's like, why is it like European Parliament is shitting on Hungary? Like, I really don't understand why hasn't Hungary left the EU already, because they just, and also somewhere else, I don't think I have the tab or anything, but I think some other claim was that they like the EU is fining Hungary like 1 million euros, was it per month or per day or something, because they refuse to take refugees. So are they actually paying it or not? And like I don't really understand. Like why doesn't Hungary just say like fuck you? They should. Well, all of Europe should, but like Hungary is the, I guess, most based one in that regard of the EU members, or maybe Poland as well. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, sounds like a curse already, her name, Last night we reached a provisional agreement on the Commission's proposal to fully phase out Russian fossil fuels. This is the dawn of a new era, the era of Europe's full energy independence from Russia. Yeah, so I don't think I don't disagree with her conclusions here. Like it is a new era and also energy independence from Russia. Yes, if like Europe will go back to like technologically to the Middle Ages. And hey, I wouldn't think that would be even bad. I think society would be better if technology would be more like Middle Ages level. But the problem is that the rest of the world won't do it. Like China or India or the Middle East, they are not going to go back to the Middle Ages technologically. So that's not going to be a viable solution, or unless there's some new power source like some clean energy that's Europe has secretly developed. I doubt it, because even if somebody were to develop it, they would get, I don't know, arrested by the authorities because they don't have a license to. And let's say like somebody made a, I don't know, a cherry powered energy generator. Like notice that cherries have this special component. If you, I don't know, boil them in a certain way, and then the energy input is much better than fuel or diesel or anything like that, and made a generator. But they would just get arrested or something because they don't have a license for that. They don't have the permit. Anyways, in one of Paris's biggest shopping malls, a 13-year-old girl went to the toilet at KFC. She was followed by four men who locked her in and gang raped her, filming everything. I would bet my life on what group of these four men belong to, but if I say which group, I will face higher prison sentence than these animals. Yeah. So they're probably Mongolians or Koreans. That's the most likely culprits for these four men. So yeah, this is the kind of, so what the fuck are European people doing? Like, it's obvious that all the the judges, the politicians, the bureaucrats, they are truly evil people who belong in an oubliette. But how about the so-called decent, normal European people? What are they doing? Like, are they aware of this? Do they care? Like, it's not just like I'm not the only one who noticed, but like the masses, like the normies, are they still like completely with their heads up their asses? Like this development was obvious after 9/11 that the Western world would be heading this way. This wasn't like a something that's completely like, if you paid attention, you saw it coming. But I guess that they were busy just calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist, and maybe they still are. Anyways, then we go to Germany, Deutschland. Berlin just legalized secret police break-ins to plant spyware, state Trojans for hacking phones and cracking encrypted chats, mass location tracking, facial recognition. Berlin has enacted new police law granting authorities extensive surveillance powers, including the right to secretly enter homes and hack phones. So yeah, like there's like no longer any argument to say that it was bad that the Axis lost. That I mean, no, that it was good that it was good say lost, because like I'm not saying like if the Nazis and those guys had won the war, that we'd live in a paradise and everything would be hunky dory and perfect. No, I'm not saying that at all. But clearly, the good guys didn't win, because this is the kind of stuff that we were always told that the Nazis were doing. But like and maybe they were, maybe they would have been, had they had technology to hack phones and spy on you technologically, maybe they would have done that. But like, it's already happening, and we don't have the Nazis. And you know what? Two things that the Nazis wouldn't have done: they wouldn't have imported millions of third world immigrants to Europe, and they wouldn't have started pushing, all this transgender agenda on people, and LGBT and rainbow flags and homosexuality. Those are two things they wouldn't have done. So like, when you weigh the options, that's clearly the superior option. Like maybe it's still not a good option, but it's still better. Um, and Germany student protest in their thousands against new mandatory screening for all 18-year-olds. They are preparing for war with Russia. Maybe
From
the
Berlin to Munich, that
so maybe the plot twist is not war against Russia, but some other country. But yeah, it's possible. Like, well, there are certainly evidence in the Western world they want to start a new war because, well, if they don't start a war, eventually, I guess, even the normies will get pissed off enough and they will want to put these guys in an oubliette because things are just getting worse and worse and not even so gradually anymore. And Germany's Merz, so I think she's the chancellor. I don't even so like just look at this guy. He has like compared even to somebody like Merkel, he's like just a generic, boring bureaucrat, but also, I guess, evil. Anyways, he filed thousands of criminal complaints against citizens for alleged online insults against him. Some led to police searches of their homes. Oh, yeah, because it's illegal to insult politicians in Germany. And I thought they're a free democracy, and that was only in Nazi Germany or like DDR, but I guess not. So yeah, why? I think DDR would have been also like it was probably better like living in DDR than current year Germany, at least like generally speaking, like you had higher chances of surviving or something and not being in trouble with the law. Yeah, so German Chancellor Merz uses German startup to find insults on social media with AI and then sues people. Automation to sue people for insults on social media. German innovation. According to newspaper Die Welt, Merz contacted the company Sodan. German innovation destroys free speech. German startup is automating criminal complaints against speech online. The company automatically scans for insults and other bad speech for their clients and makes a criminal complaint. Like, you know, are they even pretending? I saw this meme on Twitter just a few days ago, saying that alleging that EU has freedom of speech whereas America doesn't or something. It's like, yeah, how can they even pretend like EU has any freedom of speech? Like, it's insults. It's not even claiming it's like, incitement to violence or anything like that. No, it's just insults. Okay, people get sued for saying naughty things automatically. Their clients and poster faces are people like German Vice Chancellor and Economy Minister Habeck. You badmouth him, you get sued automatically. PS advertising for companies is legally problematic for politicians, so Habeck maybe is legally liable here. Okay, yeah. And imagine beating your elderly citizens for peacefully protesting a foreign entity. Shame on you, Germany. So, brutal police response in Berlin. Protest. Okay, the context here is not clear, but at least according to Ryan Rojbiani, it implies that he was just protesting against. It's probably Israel is the foreign entity, of course. I don't know. He called the cops pigs. Yeah. Okay. Then that triggered him. So yeah, this is like like yeah, they are using violence. Like it's not like super violent against this guy, but it's like just for saying words. This is what you hear that happened in Soviet Union or Nazi Germany or whatever. But it's like, hey, both of them were probably nicer than current day Germany, or at least like let's say Germany 1 year from now. Maybe it's gonna be even worse unless there's like a surprise revolution or something. I don't know. I'm still not very clear like what he was he protesting against, but doesn't really matter. Okay, and EU fines Elon Musk's X or Twitter. Wait, is it like 140,000 million? So wait, is it bill? I don't know. Big number. It's too big. I know this is million, so this is like 40 million. So 140 million. Yeah, 140 million for allegedly misleading users with verified badges and denying them access to its data. Uh, like my initial response, oh yeah, I said it here. Then how about giving the money to users instead of the EU trying to steal it? It's like, yeah, it's not that they're worried about X doing something bad. It's because they want money. Like, okay, I don't even know what exactly they mean. How is X supposedly misleading people? But like, then give me some of that money. I'm a user. I'm a pay pig even currently. So hey, give me part of that money then. But of course, the EU just wants to keep it for itself and its own goons and um, underlings, minions. Anyways, Ted Cruz said the European Commission's 140 million fine on X is an abomination, is an attack on a great American job creator, and is an attack on free speech of every American. For once, I sort of agree with him. The EU imposed this crazy fine not just on X, but also on me personally, which is even more insane. Elon Musk said that. Therefore, it would seem appropriate to apply our response not just to EU, but to the individuals who took this action against me. Yeah, I think these people should be put in oubliettes, like probably Ted Cruz as well. Elon Musk is sort of 50-50. Um, So X has terminated the European Commission's ad account. EU paid to promote its announcement on X and used a trick that disguised a link as a video so the ad would get extra reach. They fined X for being deceptive while using a deceptive method to push their own ad. Well, that sounds like the EU. It's one of the most pathetic political entities ever, but like in the history of the world. But it's still so pathetic that it's been allowed to germinate so long. There's something wrong with European people. And I'm not saying that because I'm like, ha ha ha, Europeans, well, they deserve to suffer because, you stab yourself in the foot, you deserve to feel the pain. That's just how it works. But it's like, I wish they stopped stabbing. I wish Europeans would stop stabbing themselves in the foot. Anyways, so EU just fired a $120 million euro million 120 million euro warning. I really hate it because they put it here. They should put it there so I can 120 million euro should be here. It's confusing for me. Anyway, so warning at X and it backfired immediately. The European Commission has finally done what it has been threatening for nearly 2 years. It slapped Elon's X with 120. Well, here he says 120, but I think it's 140. Anyway, the fine, the first ever punishment under the Digital Services Act. Officially, Brussels says this is about transparency and interface design and research access. Unofficially, everyone knows what this is really about. Europe wants control over online speech, and X refuses to play hall monitor for the EU bureaucracy, and Washington just noticed. JD Vance did what any hero would have done. The man didn't bother with diplomatic phrasing, he called it exactly what it is, a fine for not engaging in censorship. The EU should be supporting free speech, not attacking American companies over garbage. Elon Musk's response, 2 words, much appreciated. That exchange matters because it crystallizes the growing fracture between Washington and Brussels on digital governance. Yeah, except that, US has been subtly or less subtly manipulating EU for a long time, and I think they are partially the reason why Europe is currently such a tyrannical shithole. But it's good if America also starts to gradually change away from that. But so I don't expect that with the current establishment. They can They pay lip service to it, but not walk the walk. Anyways, the EU sees the internet as an environment to police. The US, at least the current White House, sees speech as something to protect. This is not a small disagreement. It goes to the core of whose values define the next century on the web. Europe insists this isn't censorship, but its actions tell a different story. The Commission says X is being punished for deceptive design and insufficient transparency in its ad library. Yet TikTok, whose data practices have triggered national security alarms in the Western world, walked away with no fine simply by promising to tweak its interface. The message is unmistakable. Comply with the EU speech rules, no problem. Challenge Brussels narrative control, prepare your checkbook. For a bloc obsessed with tech sovereignty, this is an extraordinary way to demonstrate insecurity. US officials have been warning for months that the DSA drifts into censorship. Now Europe has handed them an Exhibit A. Expect renewed US pressure in trade talks, increased scrutiny of EU regulatory bias, more aggressive defenses of American platforms, and fast tech decoupling between Washington and Brussels. For Europe, a deeper question. Okay, I am not going to read all that. It's too much blah blah blah. Anyway, a German court case has revealed the truth. Ukraine, with full US support, carried out the Nord Stream pipeline explosion, and President Biden was fully informed. Yeah, wasn't I think it's the guy that already like sort of made the claim a couple of years ago, the Pulitzer Prize winner journalist. Not sure if this is like truly and unequivocally been confirmed to be the truth, but like of course the most likely suspects are Ukraine or US or EU, like for the explosion. A man was put in prison today after he said on social media that men and women had different skeletons. I'm not making this up. Europe is going through not just a free speech crisis, but a fact based reality crisis. This is absolutely fucking insane. So, this is in Switzerland. And so, we're not an EU country. He said in a Facebook post, if you excavate LGBTQI, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex people after 200 years, you will only find men and women among the skeletons. Everything else is a mental illness that was fostered by the curriculum. Let's see, I'm not going to read all that, but let's try to see if, like, what's his crime actually. So, the post was sent to Swiss police, who summoned Brünisholz for questioning on suspicion of incitement of hatred, according to Swiss newspaper Inside Parade Plots. A transcript of Brünisholz's interrogation shows he was incredulous about the accusation and kept laughing while answering the officer's questions. After confirming he wrote the post, Brünisholz was convicted of discrimination and incitement for the hatred by the Emmental. Emmental is my favorite cheese. Oberargau Regional Court and fined 500 Swiss francs or 460 pounds. According to Brunschulz, he refused to pay the fine and instead was required to serve a 10-day prison sentence in what he viewed as a violation of his free speech rights. So he has to also pay 800 francs in legal costs, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, so it's only 10 days. But yeah, this is like, saying objectively factual statements is illegal in Switzerland. Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, how, like, there have been tyrannies and stuff, but, like, has it ever been this bad? Like, making very objective biological observations about humans and skeletons, and yeah, that's illegal. Like, has there been a tyrant, like, Caligula or something, or Nero? Did they have anything this insane? like Caligula made a horse a senator. I think that doesn't even sound crazy to me. It just sounds like, yeah, these politicians are useless and this horse could do a better job than you. But anyway, so yeah, the time has come. Radio Channel says like, EU flag here in the grave, and I agree because now it's like, Elon Musk has been saying that EU should be abolished, and I've been saying it for years and years basically. And so I agree with the message, but I do think it's interesting development that these um, people like Radio Channel. It's an account that does complain a lot about um, it complains a lot about Islamization of Europe, but it's very quiet on the Israelization of Europe. So I consider them sort of control the position and stuff, and now they're pushing this. So like my 2 cents on this is that it's like sort of ultimately I don't think that the EU will be abolished yet, at least, but they are sort of like going a bit too far with all the tyranny in Europe, and maybe they will push it back a little bit. So it's like instead of going a mile forward to tyranny, we're just gonna go, a few big steps, and but people will feel like it's a victory because we only went into tyranny a little bit, not a whole lot yet. But hey, Stolen Hellcat, welcome. Good morning. Jews were always the enemy of the church until Vatican II, then they became the chosen. Yeah, it's certainly the Catholic Church didn't like Jews or Masons. Uh, Before Vatican II. That's definitely the case. But then Australia. This is not Europe, but it's you know it's European culture, so it's still in the same section. So what's in and what's out for Australia's under 16 social media ban? So these are banned for kids under 16. Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube. But allowed are Blue Sky, Discord, GitHub, LinkedIn, Messenger. Like, who fucking teenager uses LinkedIn? That sounds like the worst thing ever. It's like the grayest vomit ever. Ugh. Anyway, Messenger, Pinterest, Roblox, fucking Peter Blocks, Steam, WhatsApp, YouTube, Kids. So yeah, why is like WhatsApp and Groomer, Cord, and Blue Sky they're allowed? It's like, is this arbitrariness that really gets to me? Like, I'd be much, if you're gonna have very authoritarian rules, at least make them consistent that everybody can understand what's going on. But that's not the point here. Yeah, Roblox certainly should be banned from. Well, I should think this probably should be banned. Like, I've never played Roblox or ever even watched like a let's play video of it or a stream or anything. But that probably should be banned because there seems to be lots of grooming issues with it. I don't know if other kind of adults play Roblox because I don't know. I haven't found much interest in it outside of when it's politically or news relevant. Anyway, Australia expects platforms to stop under 16s from using VPNs to evade social media ban. So does it mean they expect just passively expect the teenagers to stop using VPNs, or are they actually doing something to? Yeah, here it says the regulator has refused to say how this will work in practice. So yeah, I don't know if they are like gonna ban them somehow VPNs, or just sort of hope that teenagers wouldn't use them and stuff. But okay, finally we can leave Europe from the European tyranny and go a bit to American tyranny. So Pam Bondi hunts for extremists, or at least is planning to do so. So, Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered the FBI to compile a list of Americans who may be extremists per signed memo leaked to Ken Klippenstein. Okay, Klippenstein doesn't sound a kind of name that's most trustworthy, so it might be just, allegedly. But then again, that I do believe that, Pam Bondi or perhaps somebody more competent in a similar position would be doing something like that. Somehow this will be about criticizing Israel, of course. That is extreme, according to the current establishment in any Western country. And extreme is, of course, bad, which is also silly, but I don't want to go there. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump was extremely angry at me that I had signed discharge petition to release the Epstein files. He was furious and he said that it was going to hurt people. There's a reason the DOJ won't release the Epstein files. Both Trump and Epstein are identified in the grape of the 13-year-old Katie Johnson. Katie is not the only one who accused Trump of rape and sexual assault. So yeah, Katie said she was 13 when Donald Trump snuggle raped her. I don't know if I'm supposed to avoid using the naughty words. I think it's lame. So yeah, I don't know. Like, why else would Trump get angry over this stuff if it didn't affect him very personally some way? Hey, Lynn Merck, or is it Ian Merck? Yeah. Hello. Yeah, okay, what was this one? And Venezuela is a rich country with natural resources, has no central bank, and whose leader consistently speaks out against Jewish power. This is, of course, in a context that Trump administration may attack Venezuela at some point, but I actually don't know like what exactly has the leader Maduro said about against Jewish power, but I do recall he's been said something critical about Israel and stuff. Oh yeah, this is still part of yeah. So this Elmo from was this Sesame Street. This was Elmo's best year ever, and he meant this shit. Release the files, real Donald Trump child fucker, because allegedly somebody hacked Elmo's account in July apparently, but maybe it wasn't a hack. Maybe Elmo, had a bit too much drink and he spoke his mind. But anyway, let's move on to other news. So Eurovision, the Eurovision Song Contest is shattering, and I can't be more glad. Good riddance. So Europe has decided to allow Israel to participate in Eurovision 2026. And countries that will boycott Eurovision 2026: Ireland, Spain, Slovenia, the Netherlands. So Russia was immediately banned from Eurovision and FIFA, but when it comes to Israel, both organizations claim to be non-political. So Russia banned from Eurovision 2022 as organizers say it would bring contest into disrepute, and EBU on continued Israeli participation will remain a non-political event. Yeah. But hey, if this actually ends up destroying and ending Eurovision all, forever or something like that, that's good. Like, for once, Israel would be doing something good if they also manage to eradicate Eurovision Song Contest from the face of the earth. Eurovision in collapse over Israel as Spain, Ireland, and Netherlands and Slovenia withdraw. Iceland will decide Wednesday whether to join the boycott, as its most famous musician Björk has urged. Earlier this year, Germany said it would withdraw if Eurovision ousted Israel. Germany supplies 29% of Israeli arms and the US 70%. So where's the 1%? Is that Israel themselves? Genovision. I think that's sort of a lame meme. Like, I agree with the sentiment, but it could be more witty. What's this? Is this different topic already? All right. Yeah. Then let's move on. Let's move on to other stuff. Wait. Is this? Okay. This was in the wrong place. Let's move it here. Okay. So first is some Japanese brinkmanship. Japanese politics and stuff like that. So 10 years ago, on December 28th, 2015, Prime Minister Abe publicly stated, "We cannot allow our children or grandchildren and generations of children beyond them to bear the fate of having to continue apologizing forever." Yeah, I completely agree. 3 years have passed since Mr. Abe's death. The person who has become Prime Minister carrying on his will, that is Sanae Takaichi. Though it may be presumptuous, I too wish to become one of those who carry on that will. Okay, this is probably a genuine Japanese person or something, because the wording in English is so clumsy. It has to be like translated from Japanese. But yeah, definitely Japanese need to stop apologizing over, some war that happened generations ago. Especially since they weren't the only people who did bad things during war. Wait, no, this is not Japan. Wait, now I'm. Is that really. Did I screw up somehow? Or is that really all the Japan news I have? I should have more. Let's see. Sorry. Where? There should be one more at least. Okay, let's just put it here or something. No, this one? No, what was the other one? This one. Did I actually accidentally get rid of that link? White man from country of Georgia just took the World Sumo Championship in Japan. Okay, like congrats to him. Okay, this one. So Japan just drew a line the CCP can't erase. Prime Minister Sana Takaichi saying no retraction is already huge, but Motegi backing her public makes it undeniable. Japan is done tiptoeing around Beijing. No walk back, no apology, no diplomatic spin. This Japan signaling that intimidation won't work anymore, and that its Taiwan stance is now firm, deliberate, and permanent. CCP pressure used to make Tokyo cautious. Under Takaichi, it only makes Japan louder. So so Takaichi said, "We will not retract our statements about Taiwan and China." What's the exact statement? It's like the implied, like, I guess, what sort of the tone of the statement is very much implied here, but I don't know the exact statement she made. But it's, I do appreciate it that not being too like, "Hey, my God, I don't want to offend," and because China does everything it can to offend people, and you're supposed to, just apologize to them or something. But yeah, let's move on to the Hong Kong fire aftermath from last week. The typo fire that killed like 150 people at least. So at Hong Kong Baptist University, the student message was apparently too seditious to be displayed, but can't rip it down either, have to preserve the evidence for the police. Student Union board, notice board. We mourn the victims of the it's not Hong Fuk, it's Wang Fuk court fire. We are Hong Kongers. We earnestly urge the government to heed the public's call, respond to the community's demands, ensure justice is served. So that's bad. And, this is a university. I don't think it's uh, owned by the government or anything. It's a Christian university, Christian in quotation marks, because these institutions, or whatever. This sounds great. So what's this? Typo Blaze, scaffolding netting surrounding more than 200 premises undergoing works will have to be removed by Saturday, authorities have ordered. Yeah, like where I live here, there's also some construction nearby, and they also removed this netting from here. But now it's like if they drop something, like tools or something, it might actually hit people, so that's not so good, presumably. So this sounds great in theory, but the 3-day timeline has already given the very industry where the big bid rigging has been rife to cash in at the expense of ordinary people. In one renovation project alone below, contractors are quoting between 320,000 Hong Kong dollars to 2.2 million for residents to pay for the renewal of the scaffolding netting at short notice. Yeah, of course, it's the regular people who suffer for it. Oh yeah, and then I keep seeing this mainland China propaganda on Twitter. Like, look at these LED lights and shiny buildings they have. China is so great, and then it's like Chinese construction site. It seems that none of the measuring tapes actually match. This means everything will be built incorrectly on the site. And this isn't the first time this is the first time I've seen it, but I've heard that some fucking tape measures in China are inaccurate. Like, how do you screw that up? Like, it cannot be so difficult to manufacture freaking tape measure that has the correct measurements. And China warns foreign media in Hong Kong over fire coverage. China's National Security Office in Hong Kong warned foreign media on Saturday not to spread false information or smear government efforts to deal with the city's worst fire in 80 years. Well, partially, I agree with them because, like, the foreign media was very quick to blame the fire on the bamboo scaffolding, but that wasn't responsible. But otherwise, it's like, well, I trust the government not to deal with the disaster appropriately. That's what I trust. Okay, this Nick Fuentes probably shouldn't be here yet. Is there still? Okay. The killer Hong Kong fire shows how freedom is an even greater loss than you'd think. Bid rigging has been politically contentious issue in Hong Kong. As these types of corruption scandals become more rampant, watchdogs and civil groups formed the Anti-Bid Rigging Coalition in 2014. The founders of the network included pro-democracy Hong Kong legislators who were later jailed as part of the government's political crackdown. Former Democratic Party legislator Lam Chek-ting, who served as the face of the coalition, has been jailed since 2021 for participating in a primary election under the notorious national security law. You've experienced this in the states, the measuring tapes being off. Were they made in China, though? Or somewhere else? If the Wang Fu court controversy had taken place 10 years ago, when politics were more plural and amicable to whistleblowers and watchdogs, Lam would have taken the lead and constantly pressured the authority to address the long-standing concerns. Questions would have been tabled at the legislative chamber. Senior officials would have been summoned to meet with the concerned groups and explain the issues. Independent media would conduct an investigative report, and the public need not worry about retribution for speaking out. Yeah, okay. So that's his take. All right, but that's enough from the fire and or the aftermath. Like, not much info about the fire, or the causes or the damages or anything like that. So Candice Owens versus TP USA and other related topics. Because it's funny, TP. Get it? Toilet paper. Okay, Candice Owens just dropped the most explosive new timeline yet on Charlie Kirk assassination, and it's dark. Okay, I don't like the wording. It's a bit too like it makes it sound very like not so credible. But anyway, on July 11th, Tucker Carlson went completely off script at TPUSA, torching Epstein, foreign armies, and Bill Ackman's mysterious billions. Tucker later told Candace it just came out of his mouth, no plan, almost spiritual. What? My jokes don't have enough corn? Do you need more? Anyway, days later, Egyptian government linked yellow planes suddenly fly to Nebraska. Secret off record meetings, Nebraska announces massive Egypt trade deal, planes hit Wilmington, classic money hub, then back to Cairo. My son woke up, I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. So, end of July, pro Israel mega donor Y Riffy inexplicably becomes the first sponsor of Charlie's Fall Tour Super 8 after the tour allegedly wasn't even planned. Then August, TP USA suddenly demands Charlie only speaks in open air amphitheaters, specifically the UVU courtyard. So Lynn Merck saying, not sure where they were made, the tape measures. This was a few years ago when I was helping to rebuild a house that had a kitchen fire. Okay. Well, anything like that is presumably made in China nowadays. Then the undenied bombshell. Benjamin Netanyahu personally calls Charlie Kirk and offers to take Turning Point to the next level. Candice, in exchange for what? Charlie says no. 10 days later, the Egyptian planes return. Same weird route through Wilmington. French Foreign Legion training in CA ends. California. Operation Valhalla military civilian drills in Minnesota. Massive US Egypt Bright Star joint operation begins. September 2nd, Charlie suddenly demands a full Doge audit of Turning Point's finances and brings in a new COO. September 10th, Charlie is assassinated in broad daylight. Same exact day Operation Bright Star officially ends. It's like Lucifer has killed him. Candice's haunting question: what did Charlie learn from Netanyahu's offer that made him suddenly terrified about where the money was really coming from and going to? He turned down the deal. He died with his soul intact. No one, not Charlie's team, not TPSA, not Netanyahu's office, has denied that the phone call happened. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is timeline they don't want connected. Pray for Candice. She just painted the biggest target on her back for laying this out. So, yeah, I don't know whether all this is true or not, but supposedly this is a big deal. Okay, and also like it was that the TP USA they wanted to like to talk to Candice Owens, but not like a live interview or anything, but to like indoors somewhere, and she refused because she's worried for her safety because she's gotten threatened and she has kids and stuff. So anyway, TP USA versus Candice in a nutshell. Candice, you killed Charlie. TP USA, no we didn't. No live stream video. Come meet us in person on the specific date and place to talk. Candice, no. TP USA, coward. Am I missing anything? And you missed the part where Tim Pool jumped in and made an absolute fool of himself for no legitimate reason. Yeah, well, Tim Pool always makes a fool of himself. You know, there's a discussion about the differing tape measures going on. My chat is probably the most chatting ever that any topic has prompted from my chat is the tape measures. I sort of love it. Anyways, so Milo here, Milo Yiannopoulos, claims that I know for a fact that Charlie Kirk has still not been buried. So I don't know whether he's just making it up for attention or whether he knows something. But I guess it's a interesting question. Like I hope somebody can disprove him if Charlie Kirk has been buried. So then he said, okay, cool, where's Charlie's gravestone, please? In which cemetery is he buried? I can visit Marx, I can visit Nietzsche, I'd like to pay my respects to Charlie, where do I go, please? Like, Alana Newman says, Candy said he was buried in a Catholic cemetery, but they're quiet about this because they want to hide that he was converting. What? Victor Hugo was threatened by Stu Peters' producer. What? Wait, who's Victor Hugo? Isn't that the guy who wrote Les Miserables? Is it a different guy? Yeah, I'm not used to people being in my chat, and I am a bit shy, but I guess I'll deal with it. Yeah, no, I'm glad people are talking in my chat, but I am a bit overwhelmed. That's all. But anyway, so, somebody did point out that there's lots of people who didn't like Charlie Kirk and might want to vandalize his grave. So that's a good point why it would be kept secret. But if it does exist, presumably somebody's gonna find it eventually and post it online and stuff. Um, so yeah, I'm not saying I believe in Milo's claim, but at least it's like, okay, at least I wanted to hear what he said about it. And then there's some Nick Fuentes news because he's one of Candice Owens' I guess, nemesis. Um, I have testified. So Nicolas Fuentes said, I have testified to Congress under oath that I have never spoken to or cooperated with federal law enforcement. Yeah, because Elon Musk accused him of being a Fed. If you or dumbass Candice Owens have any proof otherwise, then you could call up your friend, the president, get me charged for perjury. Go ahead, I'll wait. So here Peter B says, this was Nick Fuentes' reply today following Elon Musk calling him a Fed again. So I went digging for his transcript and I don't see it correlating to what he said in that comment. Nick Fuentes claims he testified under oath to Congress that he's never spoken to or cooperated with federal law enforcement. The actual 2022 J6 deposition transcript shows him pleading the fifth to almost every question, including about FBI contact. No such affirmative statement appears on the record, so no, he did not testify under oath that he's never talked to the feds. He refused to answer. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to apologize if I am. Am I missing something? Did I miss it? So yeah, I don't know what the truth is. I haven't read the transcript or seen his video on it and stuff, but it's just so yeah, if he's wrong, I hope somebody proves him wrong, this Peter B guy. And Tim Pool just went on an unhinged rant about Candice Owens and said he thinks she's a Fed and that she killed Charlie Kirk. He also said he's a fucking evil scumbag and a degenerate cunt. My son is in my lap, so I don't want to read out those words, even though, I don't think he'd be learning them quite yet. Anyways, somebody needs to check on this man because he's clearly unwell.
Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told?
Yeah, so because I'm still somewhat, skeptical about Candice Owens. Like I say that I do sort of like her, but I still don't trust her that much. But I trust her more than most of these celebrities. But like, if she is so crazy and evil. Like, why does she trigger everybody? Like, if she's just a nutcase, wouldn't it be easier just to ignore her, just laugh at her and ignore her? But like, she really seems to rile these people up. So I think she's onto something. Maybe maybe it's only like, she makes 10 claims and only one of them truly hit the mark, but they're afraid of that one that did hit the mark. Like, just hypothetically speaking. So Nick Fed Fuentes. So Elon Musk says he's a Fed. Candice Owens, I'm not a fan of Elon. I'm not an Elon fan, but he's telling you guys the truth about Nick. He works with Feds and was working with them on January 6th. No way to deny that. Team Sebetian compound got shut up by amyl nitrate and long farts. Yeah, I saw somebody like just post that he asked like the sheriff or something, like for confirmation whether somebody had been shooting near his compound recently, but he couldn't find, like, supposedly the sheriff couldn't find any evidence that it had happened. So according to that random guy, he just um, the shooting didn't happen, but of course, it's still all allegations. Don't know. But yeah, okay. And Nick Fuentes says Candace Owens' wild conspiracy theories are tearing apart the country and that she is inciting harassment against Charlie Kirk's friends and family. They seem to be divorced from reality. She's inciting her followers to harass these people. Like, yes, why does he care so much about Candace Owens?
It is, in my opinion, done a lot of damage to the country because there are millions of people that are watching this and they seem to be completely divorced from reality. We're 3 months in and there seems to be no evidence at all. And much of the evidence is wrong. For example, she talks about this Egyptian military plane and she got the time zone wrong because she didn't know what UTC meant. She thought it meant Utah time. And so she had an Egyptian plane present during the assassination and leaving afterward, but she misplaced it because she got the time zone wrong. And when people corrected her, she came out and said, well, you correcting me proves that I'm right because you wouldn't care if I wasn't over the target. And it's things like that that freak me out because it's like, if you're right, you're over the target. If you're wrong, you're also over the target. She comes out with this conspiracy that France is trying to kill her. She says, France is trying to kill me. Then she comes out and says, the French government didn't respond. The American government didn't respond. Suspicious.
Sorry, you probably heard some of the wah, but my son was not happy. But yeah, so the reason I occasionally shit on Nick Fuentes is not so much that Nick Fuentes himself bothers me, but it bothers me that people are like praising him unquestionably. Like, certainly he says things I agree with, but he also says like a lot of things that I very much disagree with, and it's like that's the problem, because I do think he's sort of a false prophet.
Samuel is Saint sent $25. Just watch the Crowder interview. Don't find Hitler interesting? No death penalty? Scared like a pussy.
And
by
like
people with
this
guns. What the fuck
bit
happened?
here.
Am I watching the same guy? Major Eleanor lost.
Okay, so you're just like a stupid chud. No, I found Stalin way more interesting than Hitler. Far more interesting. You want to know why? Because Stalin fucking won. That's the difference.
See, I think that's the. So he says like he likes Stalin because Stalin won. Like that's his principles. He wants to win. He doesn't care, like, he's supposed to be Catholic and Christian or anything, or pro-white, but he cares. He wants to win. So I wonder, like, if you apply the same logic, because he would say that Jews are in control, so Jews won World War II. So by the same logic, shouldn't he really like and envy or want to emulate the Jews? Surely, by his own logic, wouldn't that apply? And Stalin, he had quite a lot of Christians killed. I think, especially if you're a Christian, you should have a problem with that. But even if you're not, like me, then it's still like, and it's like, if somebody says he likes Stalin, that's not really the issue. But like, he's one of the people I at least expect to hear something like this. Doesn't really make sense, like my previous image of the kind of image he's been trying to promote to himself. It's like what does he really believe? Does he believe anything except that he wants fame and fortune? That's all I can get out of him. And yeah, there's this Elon Musk said he's fed, and then Nick Fuentes said ratio, and then ratioed Elon Musk quite easily. And this is like, okay, I guess it's impressive. May I post 2 odd donos of Nick's? Sure. Like, who donate to him, you mean? But it's like, I really starting to dislike this, concept of ratio. Like, sometimes it's nice, like, seeing that it's genuinely unpopular to be a fan of Israel online in many places. That I do like that, but it's so somehow it's sometimes it's used as a replacement of providing a proper argument. It's like, oh, I ratioed you, so I must be right and you're wrong, because no, that's not how it works. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. I'll try to post this. Let's copy that, and I'll show it here. No, that's not the right one. Why can't I just can I copy that? Like, why did it copy my stream? Okay, now, all right. Convoluted way of doing it, but yeah, okay. So this is Mike on Wheels, $100. Nick, you were a tower in front of Pierce. He had nothing when he realized his fact checkers gave him biased info. He himself had nothing. You annihilated Pierce Morgan, Gen Xers, Slav Fuentenlo. Okay. I okay. Personally, I don't see what's so like odd about him, except that he's clearly a fanboy of Nick Fuentes. And here, okay, what to say?
Because these illegals that come here, I understand what you're saying. They're not bad. Like, I know illegal aliens, and they're good people. Like, they work hard, they're religious, and a lot of them love America.
So illegals aren't bad. I know illegal aliens. Okay, so Dissident West says it well here. My God, he's beyond desperate to go mainstream now that he's gotten a taste of it. Like, yeah. I don't know if they're illegal aliens. Why do they go to America? Never mind, I just see them gay and drugs. You mean the comment here. Yeah, but it's like fentanyl. It's sort of like, funny. Like, fentanyl, Fuentes, fentanyl. Of course, annihilated. I don't know. I think it's sort of just juvenile humor, but it's like it's quite a lot of money. I wish people donated me money like that. Okay, what's this? Oh yeah, video of Nick Fuentes from January 6, 2021 is going viral on X. So Fuentes, break down the barriers, disregard the police. Capital belongs to us now.
Keep moving towards the Capitol. It appears we are taking the Capitol.
So is he here? Yeah, I think that's him.
Keep marching and don't relax. Never relax.
Yeah!
Break down the barriers and disregard the police. This Capitol belongs to us now.
Yeah, so and people have asked like why wasn't he arrested unlike most other people like for saying stuff like that. He was clearly advocating for civil disobedience here. Like he didn't enter the Capitol building, but yeah, it's a bit sus. Okay, I have this twice. I read this already. All right. Okay, and this one is in the wrong place from the Japan stuff. Yeah, I screwed some of these up. Okay, and Charlie Kirk said Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. He was dead within 48 hours of saying this, by the way. So yeah, as far as I know, this is a genuine quote and it hasn't been made up. Uy, 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 uy. Okay. So let's move on to the next part. Let's try to go quick. Then Israel delenda est. The state of Israel should be demolished because of the evil and bloody bloody blah. Okay, so Miss Rachel said, wanting kids to live isn't anti-Semitic. So, and Eve Barlow said, this is blood libel. Is that simple? If you don't understand why, you don't know the first thing about Jew hatred. So it's yeah, the reason why this is a blood libel is that basically preventing them from following their religion. I think they worship Moloch and sacrificing children is like a sacred thing for them, and she's against it. So that's why she's bad. I think that's the logic. So yeah, the same comment. Zionists kill Palestinian children. Miss Rachel, the children deserve to live. The Zionist, you're anti-Semitic. Miss Rachel, wanting children to live isn't anti-Semitic. And Zionist, oh, blood libel you to suggest that children living is anti-Semitism. Yeah. And Guinness World Records is boycotting Israel and no longer accepts submissions from the country. What's this? Oh yeah, and Elon Musk said Jews are white, if not peak white. Well, I think lots of Jews themselves would disagree with this half of the time. Half of the time would agree, of course. Damn, I don't have the quote, but it's like like one thing, like David Schwimmer, the actor from Friends, he was saying that in one instance, like I never really felt like a white and another as a white actor, and but what does it mean to be peak white, anyways? I don't know. I uh, have to move fast, so let's just move fast. So then, gaming entertainment news. So let's go see what we have here. So pirate game, lose internet access. The Supreme Court will decide if Sony can turn off your internet if you pirate their content in a $1 billion lawsuit. So is it like new version of like if you steal, they cut off your hand, basically? But of course, it's the corporations who get to decide. And Valve has quietly funded multiple online open source programs needed to run Windows games on phones. And Valve cancelled this game, Stars of Blood concept art. So it looks cool. Like, of course, it doesn't show anything about the game. This looks a bit like some weird porn thingy, though. Like, so yeah, I have no idea what genre of game it would have been, but at least the art looks interesting. So it's a bit disappointing it was cancelled. Sam Altman declares code red for ChatGPT, delays OpenAI advertising plans. So yeah, um, yeah, because they're not making money. I think I reported on it last week. But anyway, so Netflix is buying Warner Brothers apparently. So yeah, the no Social Justice League. Yeah. So I don't really care that much about it, but it's because I wasn't expecting them to start making good movies, anyways. Yeah, the bubble bursting with AI, probably. And there's this random guy saying, just cancelled Netflix. Every show starts normal, then turns into gay porn. Like, some people are seeing this as a win, but it's like, I don't know, I've never even been subscribed to Netflix, so I cannot, gloat about canceling the Netflix subscription. Yeah, then there's the new Metroid Prime game. Everybody's seen this, picture, and there's also like this annoying video of some fangirl who says, "Oh my God, you're Samus Aran! Oh, you're so cool!" And everybody hates it, and so I don't have much really to add to that because I don't have any unique take on it. And I haven't played any Metroid Prime games because I didn't have a GameCube back in the day. Like maybe I should, but so not so much interest. But it's like this new Metroid game is sending me certain vibes. Like yeah, it's like yeah, scale power, very I don't know, very subtle. Let's load these because these are not loaded. And then Baldur's Gate 3 actress wants Nintendo to canonize popular fan theory that Samus is a badass trans bounty hunter. We go with OG Metroid. You mean like the NES version or the Super NES? So yeah, she's a trans bounty hunter. So she hunts trans criminals. Hey, I like that. That sounds cool. Of course, it's very popular theory. Like nobody had heard about it before this article, of course. Oh yeah, and then there's the new episode of the manga Rent a Girlfriend. Like I glanced through it. It has guy and girl basically doing lewd stuff, but not penetration stuff. And it's like on the official website where they're sharing it, it's censored like this. This is like a joke. Yeah, so is it official censorship from the English translation or is it black box in the RAWs too? No, the RAWs are not black boxed. I saw that one. And yeah, today's Rent a Girlfriend chapter apparently, yeah. Humble Bundle is replacing unredeemed Steam keys with Epic versions without notice. I'm pretty sure that's illegal or something. But Humble Bundle back in the day, like 15 years ago or whenever it first came out, because you could basically download like 6 games or something, and you got to decide what you paid. But nowadays, it's like if you want the bundle, you have to pay at least $10 or more. So it's not as good as it used to be. Cloudflare just suffered another major outage, taking down Fortnite, LinkedIn, Coinbase, and even Down Detector. A fix has been implemented. We are monitoring the results. Yeah, so it was also went down a couple of weeks ago, and now again. Maybe don't put all your eggs in one basket. Oh yeah, there's some new amazing Amazon AI voice acting might just have created literal accidental art. Well, I disagree because I think it doesn't sound any worse than usual English
I can
dubs.
at least buy you some time.
Hold on. What are you even talking about?
Yeah, I can't listen to any more of that, but yeah, genuinely, I don't think it sounds much worse than English dubs of anime. Oh yeah, then there's this weird statue in the desert somewhere in the United States. It's some new game, apparently, like a ad for it. And hello, computer is stuck. Hello, hello. Okay, now it's moving again. Kilia is sending viruses to my computer. But anyways, I'm curious to know what game that is, but I don't expect it to be anything like too groundbreaking. I'm not expecting much. But yeah, this guy says the tease will be the levels of Bloodborne 2, Half-Life 3, or a mobile game. There is no in between. That's probably somewhat accurate. But I'm expecting more like the mobile game. And there's this game, Horses. So the Epic Game Store has banned horses at the last possible minute before the game was set to release. It was banned from Steam last week. So it's sort of like horror game that's supposed to be disturbing, not even like, porn or anything, but it was, because it's disturbing, it was banned. Like that's how we roll now. Like, oh yeah, and then there's this new Starfleet Academy Star Trek poster. Yeah, just look at it. This is Star. Let's look at this gay Klingon. This sums up Star Trek for the past 10 years. Nice. And yeah, not my meme, but LOL. Yeah, like, not the greatest fan of Janeway, but certainly she deserves on this side instead of into the airlock. I presume that's the airlock. And so there's this new Final Fantasy VII mod dropped, remake mod. Nexus mods will allow mods that turn Final Fantasy VII remake characters brown, but will ban you if you make a mod that makes brown characters white. So evil cannot create, only destroy. Except that my argument is that already the remake itself is an evidence that evil cannot create, only destroy, or corrupt, rather, I would say corrupt or pervert. And a friendly reminder that the original Command and Conquerors are completely free to download legally. So these links, so I don't know, go to Syphotic Art if you want the links. I downloaded them just yesterday, I think, because I finally remembered. But anyway, that's the last news because I have to go. The last section was a bit fast, but I don't know. Let's try to have less tyranny in Europe, please. And I'm an adventure Argonaut. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.